Good evening, viewers. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Raj Kapoor of the India Blockchain Alliance. Now, sir has experience of over 20 years of leading tech giants and companies to energy utilization and technological advancement. But when it comes to the energy crisis, led by the Strait of Hormuz, the Iran-US war, the situation with Israel, he has something to tell us. So, welcome to the show, sir, and we would want to understand something from you. So, sir, I want to understand on the energy crisis, the stance of Union Cabinet Minister Singh Puri has come to surface. Now, you being in the Middle East, could you explain to our viewers what you feel is the ground reality and what is your insights and observation as an analyst who's been in the US, who's also been part of Indian projects, the India Blockchain Alliance. You're the CEO of that along with the board of directors at multiple companies. And now that you operate out of the UAE, the Gulf region, which is war-stricken for over 100 days now, what is your preliminary understanding of the situation, sir?
Actually, if you look at my perspective is like this. Puri's refusal to pay is morally correct and, most important, diplomatically necessary. But let's be precise about what we won't pay actually means in practice. Is India not paying because it has the leverage or because it can't afford to be set a precedent? Well, they are totally different things. If India is rerouting, diversifying, and absorbing the costs somewhere else, that would be strategic. But if India is waiting for the US or the Gulf states to resolve the problem on its behalf, while calling it sovereignty, that is something else entirely. And that is absolutely, actually should not be acceptable. Now, India has 76 or say 80 days, roughly from now, of reserves. We have that. But that's only 80 days. What happens after that? Supplies finish, LPG cargo softens, and that just buys us time. It doesn't buy strategy. So when Mr. Puri talks about it, we are not talking strategy or we are making statements. Iran also has demanded crypto-denominated toll payments during the ceasefire window. They don't want cash, they want crypto. There also is a precedent-setting sovereignty assertion that every maritime nation, including India, must formally and collectively reject. The real question for New Delhi is pretty blunt, and I'll be blunt about it. Does India have a Hormuz doctrine or just a Hormuz delay? I see it as a delay, not a doctrine. We don't have a policy, we don't have any strategy, we don't have a doctrine. Because the next time a checkpoint is monetized, whether by a state actor, proxy, coalition, the world will look at which nations held the line in 2026. That's for now, right now. India cannot be the country that stayed quiet while we saved fuel costs and we called it statescraft. No, sir, that's not again a strategy. That's procrastination. Puri is right to refuse. But refusal without a doctrine is just a nice press quote. Hardeep Puri says India won't pay a toll to pass through Hormuz port. Very bold words, great words. But here's what he has not answered. Iran's parliament has approved a bill charging ships up to 2 million per vessel for passage through the Strait of Hormuz, framing it as an enforcing sovereign role of Tehran. Meanwhile, almost 90% of India's crude imports and nearly 60% of LPG imports come from here. That's lots, 90% and 60%. Oh, well, a hell of a lot, my guys. His refusal to pay is, again, as I said, morally sound. But again, what happens next? You say India won't pay? Just let me answer these. I need some answers to some questions, and I'm posing that respectfully to you, sir. Who enforces that? You say India won't pay. Who enforces it? If an Indian flag tanker is stopped at Hormuz and demanded 2 million, what is our response going to be exactly? We need specifics. We don't need general statements. That's fine. We need specifics. Do we call Tehran? Do we use diplomatic channels? What do we really do? We have 76 to 80 days of reserves. What happens on day 81? You've said that you even mentioned in your interview that, well, if the war goes on till March 2027, we will go in a state of depression. we will all have recession. Are we ready for it as a nation? Are we ready for it as human beings? We are not ready for it. Do we have a contingency plan? We don't have a plan. I don't see it. I see words. I don't see plans. Now, we bought discounted Russian oil while Russia was sanctioned. Are we going to get the same treatment in the future? Especially from Iran? Have we really addressed that? Have we addressed the elephant in the room? I don't think so. And while Mr. Puri's statement again is diplomatically correct, we got to look a lot inwards and say, are we ready? Do we have a policy? Do we have a strategy? Do we have a plan? As of now, I don't see that happening. If it's there, great, I'll be happy. And I'm glad but it's the one good thing is we've taken a stance. We have to back that stance. That is strategy. Otherwise, press statements are plenty. That's my 2 cents, my folks. Bye-bye. Now, I've asked most of the questions in the first session, but here's 3 more questions which I have for you, Mr. Puri, sir. You have praised UAE's LPG offer as a great blessing, just recently in the news. And since when is India's energy security built on blessings? I really need to know that. Which bilateral agreements? Which long-term supply contracts? We don't have any. Do we have an alternative transit corridor? No, it's only one. And that's been formally locked in. It's not to be, all these things which we say, blessings, etc. These are great words to hear, but really, do they help us from a political perspective, to a real geopolitical perspective, to a perspective of making decisions? No, they don't. Now, Iran is also demanding crypto, which I mentioned in the beginning. And Trump has vowed to take the straits back and said it's guaranteed that India is caught in between a US ultimatum and an Iranian blockade. So what is India's independent position? Or are we depending on somebody else to make decisions for us? Washington to make decisions for us, or Tehran? I think New Delhi should make a decision. Let's look inside, make that decision. And my last question, if this crisis persists and fuel prices spike domestically, in which they are, will the government absorb the cost or pass it on to citizens? I've seen in the last few months, LPG costs gone up, petrol costs gone up, passed on to citizens. Now, you say you've protected consumers before, during COVID, etc., during the Russian-Ukraine war. That's been great. And you spent significant capital, political capital, doing so also. Now, is this capital still available? Or has the calculation changed before the election cycle? These questions are what I would like to pose to you, sir. And I'd love to hear your answers, because I, as a patriotic Indian, am with you, for you, in this battle. Because this battle is not just for India, it's for the rest of the world. It's for humanity. Thank you, sir.